In this video, we're going to go through some basic keyframing techniques. So if you, from your downloaded pack, you should find a shuriken file, and I want you to load that in and create a new composition in After Effects, and just change the duration of that composition to about 10 seconds long. Now I want you to drag all of your layers from your Illustrator file into the composition, and you'll see at the moment they're really quite small, they're tiny, so we're just going to hit S for scale, and scale them up by about 500%, and that should fit well into the 1080p preset composition we've got. Turning from transparency on, we can see that it's all blurry, and that's because the rasterizing vectors selection has not been selected yet, so that's that button there. And now you can see you've got a nice clean and crisp image. This short exercise is just to understand how we create keyframes or points in time in any value in After Effects. So what we're doing on playing down at the moment is just looking at the rotational values and how they interact together. You can see from this asset that's what it's made to do. So they cross, it creates different patterns. So to hit a keyframe or start a keyframe, where your playhead is, you hit the stopwatch, and you'll see a little blue dot has landed on your timeline. And if we just drag our playhead forward here to the end of our composition and create a second keyframe with a different integer of rotation, in this case, it's obviously just going to animate between the two. So if I hit make this times 2, it's going to rotate 2 times 360 degrees around, and you can see it doing it there between the 10 seconds. So that's all that's happening. We're just creating 2 different points in time, and the program is moving that between it. So then if we go to another layer and do exactly the same thing but in the opposite direction, as these cross over, it will create like kind of kaleidoscope style pattern, or shuriken pattern in this case. Now if we continue this technique a third time on one of the other center layers and just change it to a different speed in one or the other directions, you see you get this kind of final pattern in the center there that's spinning around. So obviously rotation is just one of the values that you can start to play and change with in this kind of animation style. So we're now going to have a look at getting these edges to grow and shrink just using the scale. So when I grab this layer, I'm just going to create a keyframe on the scale, hitting that stopwatch there, and then about two seconds over, so maybe do that 5 times on our overall timeline, we'll just create another one and just jump that up to 600%, and then just kind of repeat this pattern as it goes through. So we should end up with kind of 5 repetitions or so of movement of this scaling up and down. And then when it's done, you should get this kind of slow kind of animation from the outer rims. So now we're just going to do the same on the slightly smaller ones, but move them in and kind of counter the pattern as well. And because they're going to go in to the same similar pattern, we're just going to copy these keyframes from our 4th layer and the Command C for copy, and just jump them over to our smaller, there we are, number 2. Hit S for scale, and with your playhead at the start, hit paste, and you should see they'll grow at the same time. So now we're just going to go in and change those values so they're the counter movement, so they're going to shrink when the others grow, and you should end up with a nice balance in the animation. And now we can see the final result of this. So just playing with some basic transform controls and just doing this, we've got a successful animation.